So I use the Canson sketchbook. It has fine grain paper, which is meant for charcoal and pencil sketches, but it works well for various mediums, and I at least like the paper quality. But my favorite feature has got to be the Coptic binding system, which allows the sketchbook to sit flatly on the table no matter what page you're on. It also used to have a strap thingy, but that ripped off in my book bag. Oops. And here I made my own sticker for the front cover. And you can pause here to read any more details on the sketchbook. I'll try to find it and link it down below. But without any further ado, let's get right into the tour. I started the sketchbook on the 23rd of January 2021 and ended it on the 13th of February 2022. So it took me a little bit over a year to complete. It honestly takes me too long, way too long, to finish sketchbooks. But I think with this one, it was also, I experienced a lot of lows and was very creatively unmotivated throughout it. On this spread, I just practiced doing sketches with marker without doing any pencil first. It's a lot of fun to do this. Here it's kind of empty. I feel like that's pretty prominent throughout this sketchbook, but I think the birds are nice. They're the only animals that I can draw semi-realistically. Again, just some random doodles. This is kind of what I don't really like about this sketchbook. It's very empty and just a lot of random sketches here and there. And I think I prefer for my next one to do a bit more specific kind of art and more character art. This I did for a video. I think it's Watercolor. I really do like how this turned out. I like the colors. It looks kind of dull on camera, but in real life it's pretty vibrant. Here are some messy sketches, and then this trio here is kind of the start of these characters. They appear a lot throughout this sketchbook. They're from a webcomic that I haven't started yet, but I'm developing it and working on it. They're 3 of the 4 main characters, and yeah, I just was working on developing their character designs and the style. Here we have some character designs for Neptune and Uranus. I prefer to pronounce it that way. I really like this spread. I think it turned out really nicely. I just looked at some Pinterest references for the ladies there that I drew and I think they turned out pretty well. Here I was working on some designs for Saturn. And because the previous page bled through a lot, I just didn't feel very motivated to do anything on this spread, so it's very empty and just messy. I don't really like it. My biology teacher basically drew something on the whiteboard and we were talking about cannibalism, so that somehow inspired me to draw this in my sketchbook. Kind of weird, I don't really know what to think of that. And some thumbnailing. I was also wondering where spring was because the spring birds had come, but it was still snowing. and I was obsessed with Skate the Infinity during this time. I don't really like drawing in anime style, but it was fun to just look at the screen caps and try to draw it, and I do think they turn out pretty good actually. I use acrylics on the right page. It's just a scene that I had while I was listening to a song. It's supposed to be a waterfall, but it doesn't really look like it. Again, more Skate the Infinity, and then also some The Way of the House Husband sketches. I really like how the furthest left sketch turned out. I guess I can also draw frogs semi-realistically. I do really like how these turned out. I love the colors here. I also think this boy and the cat is very cute. And here we have a random pirate ship. I accidentally reversed the black and white colors of the flag, so the skull is black. Yeah, I don't know how I did that. And then here we also have other characters that are kind of reoccurring through the sketchbook. They're from a book that I'm writing. It's called Whispers of the Night. And I was trying to figure out a cover for it. This, I actually really like this spread. I like how colorful it is. I think I want to do more stuff like this, even though it's not anything like amazing looking. It's just fun and more interesting to look at, and it's just fun to do as well. I was playing around with colors and shapes. Oh, right, a random cut here because the left page had some spoilers for the book that I'm writing, and I didn't really want to include those, so here's what I will include. And then some more sketches, just random. Well, on the left page there is something based on songs and stories that I have in my head. And I did these with, I think, just a pen. Like a ballpoint pen. And here I was finally actually developing the 4 main characters of the webcomic. It's called Even a Fool Knows, if I didn't mention that already. But yeah, their designs and the style kind of changes a lot throughout this sketchbook, as you'll probably see. This was also for a video, if I remember correctly. I just chose a word and developed a character based on the word. I think these turned out pretty nicely. And again, there in the left top corner is from the book that I'm writing. This one's not a spoiler, this appears in the first few chapters. And then these are more character designs of a story that I have in my head, but I haven't started actually working on it. Just some ideas thrown around here and there. And again, more Whispers of the Night scenes, although I feel like that one is a spoiler, but maybe you can't really tell. And that's Even a Fool Knows. I do really like the umbrella scene there with the blue markers. I think it's pretty cute. Again, just sketches of random people. This is what I'm talking about. I'd rather do more of my own characters than just draw random people or random characters that I'm not gonna use ever again. I like the consistency of the spread. I think it turned out pretty nice. It's kind of different from my usual style. And again, we have more Whispers of the Night. I was really struggling to come up with a cover design for the book. I also really like this spread. I like how it covers both of the pages. I did it with colored pencils, and I just like how the man there looks so small in comparison to the trees in the foreground. It makes him seem so small and lonely. I also just like the style of this drawing. I think that's supposed to be Adachi from Cherry Magic. And then just some random sketches. And here we have a girl, a really small girl, using a leaf as an umbrella. And then a frog dressed in a shirt and a tie. Kind of a weird drawing, but I really like it. And on the left page, again, Even the Fool Knows. This is kind of a comic, like a funny scene. And even more on the left page. I didn't really realize how much I did of Even a Fool Knows throughout the sketchbook. But I was just very excited to do the story. I haven't actually started working on the comic itself because I'm a bit busy developing a portfolio, but hopefully when that's finished I can start working on it. I also really like this spread. I like it kind of pops out more, and these marker sketches here are really nice colors as well. And again, Even a Fool Knows. This is also a really cute spread. You can pause to read. There's supposed to be like text from the comic. Again, on the left page, we have Even a Fool Knows. And as I meant, no, did I mention it? I don't know. I was experiencing a lot of lows and just feeling creatively unmotivated throughout this sketchbook, and I think that's reflected in the emptiness of some of the spreads. And you can kind of see me draw a lot of that. And once again, there on the bottom of the right page, we have Even a Fool Knows. I really do love this story and the characters. Just some swatches for the new gouache that I bought, and then just trying to turn these little blobs and smudges into something. I really like this spread. It was very therapeutic to do, but I also really like the colors and how it turned out. it's simple but visually pleasing to look at. I don't know why. I think I did this in an art blog. These are character designs for the solar system characters I'm developing, but I don't really like these, and I did this in a video, so I'm kind of thinking of taking that video down because I don't really like how this turned out. And here on this spread, I think it would have been better if I added some color. It looks so, I don't know, sad and empty. I feel like I should have added some color in the background. These are kind of just random sketches, I feel like. Well, no, maybe not. The street light is based on a song. That's me writing an essay and struggling with it, and I have no memory of drawing the thing on the right page. And a kind of draft scene of Even a Fool Knows, but I don't really know if this is going to be included in the final thing. And there I was developing designs for the side characters, although I think their designs have changed drastically since then. And here I was looking at Pinterest references and just practicing drawing clothing. And again, I was feeling a little bit low during this time, and I just like drawing with gouache or watercolor whenever I'm feeling down. And I do like how these turned out. I like the moon spilling into the water, and I like the yellow with the blue. It's kind of like a ray of hope in the darkness. And here's the first page of Inktober, although I only did 5 days. And yeah, here we have some of my commentary. I was commenting on how broad her shoulders are, but stylistically I actually kind of like it. Oh, and that's also Crystal for Inktober. And this is Suit. And there again, we have Even a Fool Knows. Gosh, I did not realize how much they appear throughout the sketchbook. But I also did a video on Inktober, so you can check that out if you want more in-depth details about it. This is Vessel. I actually do really like how all of the Inktober drawings turn out. They're simple, but I do really like the style of them. I feel like I'm saying like a lot. Anyways, I was feeling creatively unmotivated, nothing new, and this is not. And here is Raven. I think the wing, like the insinuated wings there looks cool, as if he's a raven as well. And here is Spirit. I think this is one of my favorites just because I love the color green, and so this color is absolutely beautiful in my opinion. And yeah, that's the end of the Inktober. Here I was watching a lot of Halloween videos, so I just drew some costumes that I saw, and then I really like this sketch of this girl over here. And this was for a history assignment. It was just a short assignment on ancient Greece. Very empty, this page, or both of these pages. And then my commentary again, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, because I was drawing it from an angle, and so she turned out to be a little bit angled as well. And it reminded me of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Then here, again, even a full nose, except in a different style. Not really sure which one I prefer. This one's more detailed, which I like, but the other one's really cute and suits the story. Then the right page is again for a history assignment. That's not the final version though, that was just a sketch. And some gouache paintings from a video as well. And then more in-depth character design on one of the main characters. There's a lot to consider with this because you have to consider every angle, both the hair, the face, and how the style changes with facial expressions and stuff like that, which I didn't really realize beforehand. So I thought doing a webcomic would be easy peasy, but it's not. It really is not. And then the second main character, although he's a big struggle for me because of the hair, but I refuse to change his hair, so I'm stubbornly trying to figure it out. And again, on the right page, just marker sketches without any pencil first. And because of the webcomic, I was having a lot of doubt, but I just took that doubt and stomped on it, as you do. And then I just stuck this loose paper drawing on here because I didn't really know where else to put it. And then it was already Christmas. Time flies. But yeah, I don't really celebrate the holidays, and so it kind of feels like a weird time because everyone else around me celebrates it. Kind of feels a little bit sad. I don't know. Anyways, moving on quickly. This is some random Pinterest references. I just did it with liners, no pencil sketch first, and I'm kind of impressed with how they turned out, to be honest. It's good practice for both anatomy and also just clothes, the way clothes fold over your body and stuff. And here we have the sketch of my current profile picture. The pencil kind of smudged here, but that's fine. And then the sketch for my sun character from a most recent video. And here again, cover designs for Whispers of the Night. It's funny how I said I couldn't choose between these two when I didn't end up choosing either and chose this one. I have now done the cover and I really like how it looks. And then here we have some penguins in sweaters. The Ghibli, I don't know how you say it, but the Ghibli painting that I did in a recent video, I stuck it here. Didn't really know where else to put it. I think this is gouache. I just watered it down a lot. And just some random blobs that I turn into something, I don't know. And here I say portfolio ideas, but I just kind of meant like doodle dump, I think, more so than actual ideas. and these were done with crayons, and that's why they are so smudged. But I knew that beforehand, so this was done intentionally. Like for example here, the complete drawing is smudged on the other side, which I like. You can pause to read the text if you want and interpret this however you'd like. I'd rather keep the meaning for myself. And yeah, I was feeling a bit burnt out with this sketchbook. I think I'll talk about that a bit more in the epilogue of this video. Here I kind of revisited an old style and just made it a bit more fun and interesting. And I was also reading a lot of books on wizards and dragons, so kind of wanted to draw that. Here I drew out some places in my book. It helps to see it visually because then I can write it better. And then there's just a random robot guy over there. And here is a cover design for Even a Fool Knows. I'm also very much aware that the head is very small on the guy in the middle. I did fix that in the final thing, don't worry. And then we have some mushrooms. I really like this pen that I use, but I don't really know the brand. I just think it looks really good when it comes to this kind of shading, as I did on the bottom mushrooms there. And then we just have this frog. Yeah. And because those markers bleed through a lot, I just decided to stick this loose paper drawing of a wizard character guy. And I drew him on the other page as well and colored with squash. And then on the last page I just did some designs for like a brand perfume thing. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about it, but yeah. And then just a random alligator, just stuck him there. And last but not least, another random loose paper sketch that I just stuck in there. And that basically concludes this sketchbook tour. But I'll share some of my thoughts in the epilogue, so stay around for that if you want. So I have a lot of reflections and not exactly regrets about my sketchbook. I don't want to feel pressure to do anything amazing on every single page because I think that defeats the purpose of a sketchbook. And I do think I did a good job with this one to do just what I want, though at the same time I realized what it is that I enjoy doing the most and what I'd like to do more of, and I think this sketchbook lacks that immensely. Therefore I have clear goals for my next sketchbook, and I feel like I could have done more with this one. It's very empty and it took too long, but I do still hold it dear to me because I went through a lot of lows with it and it did help me deal with those lows. I also developed my style and art in a direction that I want, and I'm excited to further explore that in my next sketchbook. But thank you for watching and listening to my rambles, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!